Hi, guys. It's Archie Luxury. How are you people today? I hope you're having a good time and you're here with your pontiff. So, guys, what are we here to talk about? You. That's right. We're here to talk about you. Let's run the cheesy intro and let's start the show. Luxury live stream channel. Guys, I am just about to do some Kama Sutra. I'm going to do a Kama Sutra. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I'm going to do a Kama Sutra move. That's right, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the audience from my other stream. This is on the dungeon. I'm going to bring these guys over to my I'm going to bring them over to this stream here. So this is a little bit of voodoo. So just bear with me as I do this. I'm bringing them over. Just hang on. Just hang on. It's just take a minute. Go into customization. Go into redirect. Go into, here we go, paste. Okay, we just done that. Done. Okay, that's done. Okay, I'll just let my good friend know that I've done it. Okay, done. Done. All set. There we go. So we've got some really good guys there. We're about to bring these people over from the other stream, the Kama Sutra. That's right. The Kama Sutra move. That's exactly it. So we'll just see if we can get these guys over. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Okay. Just yep, that's it. I've just got that all going nicely now. This is a Kama Sutra move, so I've just got to do. It's like the swan dance, the swan dance. So yeah, we'll just get that Kama Sutra move happening, and we'll just see how it goes there. We want to do the swan dance. Okie dokie, and it's just having a look. I think it's taken it across. I think it might have just done it. Yes, the dungeon people have come across. Thank you so much. That's the dungeon. The dungeon. The best of the dungeon. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. Those guys there. We did the Kama Sutra backflip. That was pretty damn good there. That was beautifully done. Must say so myself. That was quite a maneuver, a Hoover maneuver. That was the Hoover maneuver backflip reversed. So we're back. We're back in the saddle now. We are back in the saddle, and we're streaming live now. So that's the main thing. Guys, what have you guys been up to today? It's in my country, it's Sunday. This is Sunday. I had a lot of fun. I did the show. Then I had some lunch. I had to pick my son up. He was working on my this is my youngest son. He was making some beehives. And then I had to pick him up. I had what did I do? Had a bit of a nana nap. And I'm back here. Hello, General Saad. How are you?
Hello, Pontiff. How are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. How are things going? General Saad, I'm pleased to be here with you. What time is it in Pakistan now for you?
It's 3:37 p.m.
Okay, beautiful. And we've got Sirocco. Hello, Sirocco. How are you?
Hello, Archibald Chesterfield III, aka the Pontiff, and my God,
Hello,
General
boss.
Saad.
Hello,
I'm standing
Sirocco.
to attention and saluting to our general.
Thank you so much,
General
boss.
Saad.
Hello. I was just watching in the dungeon. And I suddenly got brought across, and I thought, you know what?
Hey,
I've had a couple of
jump on.
beers. Yes, this old
Jump on.
drunk has had 4 beers, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to jump onto ARCHIELUXURY main
What
channel.
beers did you have? What brand
I
of
had-
beer?
Well, I think everyone in the Archieverse knows what brand of beer I drink.
Stella?
Absolutely.
That's very, very good there. It's nice
I've
to
had
see you.
in 4 hours, no, 3.5 hours, I've had 4 beers. Is that
That's
bad?
nothing. That's nothing.
Professor
That's
will
fine.
be joining us in a while. Professor, he's a good guy, Pontiff.
Yes. It's very, very good there.
I saw the dungeon was on, and I thought, I came back and I saw the
free
dungeon was on, and
flights
I thought,
to lure digital nomads to honkers. Wow, what is that? I gotta check that out. What do you reckon? Digital nomads.
Digital. Do you want to be digital? Do you want to be digital, or do you want to be real? I don't understand all these new terms. I'm old school. I'm a bit old. What is a digital fucking nomad?
That's not a. What the hell was
does
that?
mean?
That's a very
what does it
nasty
mean?
attempt at a advert. That's not funny. Is that the real NATO? That's not NATO.
Let me check. Hang on.
No. I just checked it.
I think it is.
You think it is? How?
Yeah, he's got a wrench. He's got a wrench. He must be.
It can't be
We've
NATO.
got 2 NATO. They've got NATO, NATO, and he has a wrench, and that's NATO.
No, but this other one, I don't think it is. He's putting ads for.
No,
that's an ad for fucking toothpaste.
No, no, no.
That's not a. That's not a. What the hell was that? That's a very nasty attempt at a advert. That's not funny. Is that the real NATO? That's not NATO.
I think it is.
No, but this other one, I don't think it is. He's putting ads for. That's an ad for fucking toothpaste.
Oh no, sorry. It should be a Channel 7 news report. So that's where that's come from.
We got Professor here. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
What's that?
Yeah, it's I gotta tell you, Professor, it's hard. I'm still, I don't know if I can get over this mess, but you know, the streaming is good. I actually enjoy coming on the streaming, and I gotta tell you, Professor, what the hell is happening in England? You got so many strikes going on. What the fuck is going on? What's happening?
UK. That's what the UK does. They got rid of Maggie Thatcher. Now they've got fucking whatever they've got, and the strikes are coming back 20 years, 30 years later. That's what's happening. They haven't got strong leadership. They haven't got leadership.
Yeah, the country is disintegrating. Has been disintegrating for decades, but now it's more real. And if you add to it the Brexit, it makes the UK look very flimsy, very weak, incapable of managing itself. If you don't live in one of the bubble cities, you live in misery.
What's happening in England? I don't understand this, Professor. I really want to ask you, because it's starting to happen in Australia. We are having a massive housing crisis, in the sense that it is very hard to rent an apartment or a house. And
it's everywhere, right?
What the fuck is happening? Why
I don't know. Just look at the pandemic. The pandemic, they're going to blame the pandemic on everything.
Yeah, but it's nothing. But hang on.
Well,
the population. The thing is this: the population hasn't exploded since the pandemic, right? So we've got the same number of houses before.
The UK, Scratchy's made a comment in the chat. The UK is, I think, the Brexit. Brexit didn't happen for the correct reason. Brexit fucked everything. If you read the report,
no, but we're nothing to do with Brexit. We're Australia. We're not even in the EU.
Exactly.
We're not even in the EU.
You were just mentioned about the UK, so let's just concentrate on that at the moment. And Brexit has caused an awful lot of problems. Now that has reverberations throughout the world. Now, as for this housing crisis, I find the whole thing totally bizarre. I mean, Strider's saying negative gearing. Negative gearing's been around forever. You can't even look, and that's only in Australia. So we're talking international at the moment, and the same thing seems to be happening everywhere. I look at stuff back in the UK, and specifically the island I come from, and I see there is a housing crisis there. I could charge probably double the rents on my properties that I own over there, but I choose not to because it's just not fair to the tenants to do that. I feel bad enough by putting rents up by inflation, let alone, like a lot of unscrupulous people do. And I don't understand it. Yes, Sovron, Sirocco's explaining the housing crisis from his boat. Well, yes, absolutely, Sovron. I can't afford to buy a house. Fuck me. I'm in bumfuck Australia, and there's an apartment up here, 2-bedroom apartment. It's fucking $900,000 in bumfuck Australia, let alone Brisbane. So, hey, what the hell?
What do you think, Professor? What's the cause of this? Why is the Western world seeing houses go crazy? What the fuck? Like Canada's got this problem, New Zealand's got it, Australia,
everywhere. It's the most bizarre thing, and they're going to blame. They've moved away from blaming the pandemic. Next, they're blaming fucking Ukraine war, and then they'll blame something else. It's all about greed by a minority. And I'm a capitalist. What do you reckon, Professor? Would you agree with roughly?
I was asking. He's an economics professor. That's why I was asking him.
Exactly. That's why I asked his opinion. That's why I shut up and said, let's hear the professor.
Okay, so I think there is a more generalized trend in the West. People are getting less productive, more lazy. Um, there is no thirst, hunger to create wealth. Um, it's a generalized trend, and the UK is not falling just because of Brexit. There are too many people who have sold homes and too many people who are demanding homes, and these homes have been sold. There was a bubble. There was a real estate bubble in the UK, in the bubble cities, not in the odd northern country, which voted predominantly to exit the EU. So overall, there is a paralysis that has been going on in the UK for 20 years, 20 odd years. The UK doesn't produce much besides services, financial services, and overall services. The UK,
Holy fuck. You know what? There was a guy called Dibner, the steeplejack man, Dibner. He said, we've become a nation of double glazing salesmen. We don't produce anything. We're selling crap to each other.
Yeah.
Fred Dibner, his name was. Fred Dibner. And
education has gone down. Quality of universities has gone down. The class system has widened the gap, the wealth gap in the UK. If you look at income versus private school fees, you're talking about crazy stuff, Archie and Sirocco. People cannot afford, private
Talking
education.
about money and decadence, we just got a thick chat from Strider.
Strider, $3. Peak decadence in the West. Left, great reset.
Yeah, and the Asians, the Chinese are hungry. They're eating every country for breakfast. Okay, these guys are creating a lot of wealth. They're expanding. They're buying stuff. And they're conquering the West. And the West has become complacent. Had it not been for the US, the US is still productive, liquid, and so forth, with its own problems, domestic political problems. I think the West was going to be heavily screwed. Heavily screwed. Italy is bankrupt. Spain is not going anywhere. Forget my own Greece. That has been bankrupted many times over. And now you have a war in the middle of Europe, and the Europeans don't know how to manage that. Can you believe that after all these wars, the Europeans cannot manage, and there is a war in the midst of, the democratic continent?
Because they're afraid of the nation that began the war. I think, simplistically put.
Exactly. Look, by 2035, by any account, China will be the largest economy in the world. So, your market, Archie, is in China, in Asia. It's not in the West. Watches are being bought by Chinese and Americans. Over time, most of these watches will be bought by Asians. There'll still be wealth in America. It's not going to disappear. But China is there, and it's here to stay.
Someone just made a comment. Sorry to interrupt, but I kind of watched the chat a bit. NATO's made a comment. They'll collapse in China. I think they're almost screwed. Manufacturing will go to India, and that was the main one I was going to come with, and Mexico and Africa. I was thinking more of India. Do you think India will take
China
over
will
manufacturing?
No. India is a mess. Its growth pattern is messy. If you look at a growth pattern, it's patchy. It goes up one year and then it falls down another year. It is up and coming for sure. It will be the most populous country, if it's not already. And they're coming. They'll be there, whether it's third or fourth or second, they're there. But the Chinese are different. And the Chinese do have hiccups. They do have problems. Right now, they're facing a real estate crisis and all kinds of other crises. But they're coming around, and the Chinese is a force to reckon with. If you look at the investments of China in the One Silk, One Road, In Pakistan, they're dominating Pakistan. In Africa, they're dominating all these countries. The ones extracting rare earth minerals in order to recover into this renewable future is all Chinese. The biggest solar manufacturer is in China. It's not in India. So, the Chinese are there. We should not say that they will disappear. What will disappear is the Western kind of ethos of being on top of the world. And I think the other thing that is destroying England or the UK is the entitlement class, the entitlement mentality,
Yes.
that I'm entitled to be wealthy and to have real estate and to send my son to Eton and then go to Cambridge. Well, Cambridge and Oxford are declining in importance. The quality of students is pathetic. And the endowment, if you look at the endowments of both universities versus the US, I mean, the endowment of Cambridge University is about £4.5 billion. If you look at the endowment of Harvard University, it's about 45. The amount of innovation that has been done at Stanford University, it's about 2/3 of the entire UK economy since the 1970s. The market capitalization of Apple meaning the phone company, computer company, is 2/3 the entire market capitalization of the UK stock market. So look at what 100,000 people does being employed at Apple versus 75 million people in the UK.
I see. So, okay, dokie. That's
Well, I
pretty
guess
scary.
we asked.
That's
I
pretty
guess we asked
scary.
the question.
That's pretty scary statistics. Is it going to
Yeah.
get better?
Not
Apparently not
necessarily. I mean,
anytime soon. No.
what is it exactly? The question for those from the UK is, where do they innovate? I mean, people like Dyson, the guy who makes the vacuum cleaners, right? How many Dysons do you know in the UK? Not many. The answer is the economy doesn't innovate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fine
sure.
to talk about watches, but and Bremont is a nice brand, but it's a shit brand.
Yes,
At the end of the
of
day.
course. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Tell me this.
Yeah, wow.
Home ownership is getting harder. Like young people today compared to
Of course,
20 years ago
they don't
to
have
buy.
the income.
No.
They don't have the income. Homes have gone crazy. If you look at income to house price ratios, I mean, 30 years ago it was 1 to 20. Now it's 1 to 200. How will a poor
Madness.
fellow graduating from university who is being told, go and get a hefty degree, study all your life, and then you cannot own and get a little shoebox flat? Will this guy have a future? If you add to it a couple of kids,
Yep.
go crazy. Buy watches instead of having a family.
Might as well. Yeah, I get it.
Get a
You're spot
dog.
on.
Get a dog. Buy a couple of watches and enjoy life. Because bringing up
Who
kids
can afford a
in this
dog? Who
system,
can afford a dog?
yeah, I mean, a dog is also expensive.
Exactly. Fucking hell. That bill is fucking
Yes.
more 3 times as much as it costs to go to the doctor. How does that work? Fucking hell.
The NHS is about to collapse. They have about 11 million people who are waiting for surgeries to take place. I mean, if you're not dying, they're not going to look at you. Yes, it's pretty a dandy, the NHS. Every UK national, I mean, believes in the greatness of the NHS. It's about to collapse. And yes, of course, Greece is completely fucked up. That's because of its politicians. But for many decades, the UK was the bastion of advancement, institutions, economic growth. And they're more fucked up than the Greeks. All the retired Britons are sitting in Portugal and Spain. Who wants to sit in the UK, right? I mean, and what exactly are they doing? They don't have enough truck drivers to get gasoline. 8 months ago, they had a huge strike they had an undersupply of truck drivers because with Brexit, they managed to kick them all out. They couldn't transport bloody gasoline to the stations. And there were queues. I mean, this was like a 1973 crisis. So, I mean, UK is pretty messed up. France is not far behind the UK. Germany is okay, but they're pretty fucked up as well. right? And
Tell me
Eastern
this.
Europe, forget it.
Tell me your view on, is globalization a good thing or a bad thing?
Overall, it's a good thing, but it has its limits.
Okay. Do you think in the Western world itself there, like, we've got a situation where wages, average salaries to house prices has blown out. Houses have grown so much more than wages. And we've the big thing is, if you look at countries like Japan, you've got a situation where they have got aging population, and it's quite scary what's going to happen to a country like that, because they don't have much immigration in Japan.
Talking of economics, Archie, we have a super chat.
We got a super chat. Chinese
Sorry
weather
to
balloon,
interrupt.
£1.80. Mind you, Arch, I'm just floating by.
Until it goes bang. With a big,
So,
how much did it cost to fucking shoot that fucking balloon down over the Atlantic? How
Tell
much
me this.
did that cost? Just
No,
that fucking missile. Sorry to digress. I think we need a little bit of levity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think the best time to live was, Professor? What was the best time economically for the world?
SD43 super chat.
SD43, £1.80. I came here for entertainment, not to be depressed. Thank you.
I'm trying to.
What was the best time? What was the best time?
More levity.
I think for the UK, for sure it wasn't the 70s. It was miserable, depressed, and huge unemployment, if you remember.
The best time was the 80s.
It was the 3-day fucking week. It was the 3-day fucking week. Did that work? The 3-day fucking week?
I think we're going back to that eventually. The Western world has to do that, 4-day or 3-day.
I think Thatcherism in the early to late 80s. Once Thatcher was fucked, and then the Falklands War, General Galtieri did her the biggest favour that a politician could possibly have, because she was fucked anyway. But then things went good, and I think the 80s, for sure. I mean, I'm a product of. I was born in 1959. Grew up in the 60s, 70s, left school, and 70s was pretty fucked. But by the 80s, especially after the Falklands War, I think the 80s were the best time. And then, thank God, I left the UK and came to Australia.
I think 80s and 90s for the UK was the best time. And then by the time we get to 2008, it all gets completely messed up. And after that, it goes downhill from there on. So, yeah, I think 80s and 90s, that was the best time, because financial services grew. In the UK, services grew overall. Real estate picked up. People got employment. Thatcher came in to fix the house. Now you have a mess with the Conservatives. Imagine when Labour comes in, they will completely mess up the entire landscape.
Oh, God.
And
this is
the
big problem. You're so correct. The big problem is, at the moment, you've got Conservatives in power that just don't know what the fuck they're doing, because they can't stick with one leader and let it. They're just all over the place. And then you've got the Labor Party, who is, what the hell do they stand for? No one knows what they stand for. You've got Sir, the knighted. The Labor Party were the man of the people, and now you've got a freaking knighted person, knighted, lauded gentry running the fucking party. I mean, how fucking bizarre. Let's go back to the days of Harold Wilson, for fuck's sake. Maybe that's.
I got to tell you, Harold Wilson. Harold Wilson himself. There, who fell off? Who fell off?
Dodger has disappeared, and Saad.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't blame him. We should.
Yeah.
I think politics is not.
We've got to get back. Got to get back to some good talk there. I got to tell you, it's very nice to come on here and just chat. and talk. It's a great environment. I think as men, it's good to have a place where we got a bit of interest in the watches. The watches are very important. Do you think the watches themselves, Professor, is part of your identity as a man?
Definitely, but it all depends what kind of a man and at what age, because I don't know what the young folk will do. But for the older folk, there seems to be still an identity and all of that. Yeah, but that's me speaking. I could be very wrong.
I wonder whether the next generation watches, could they ever phase out? Like, a lot of people are wearing the Apple Watch and they got no interest in expensive watches. And
you look at below $3,500. The watch market has been decimated from the Apple Watch and all the other watches, right? So that is a challenge. If the new generation comes in and they're not really keen, as you said, and you have the Chinese coming in who want to play watch industry experts, the Swiss will have a problem 20 years from now.
It's I don't know what the answer is really. It's those industries are hugely expensive to run. To the watchmakers, the watch manufacturers, investment in not only capital like machinery, building, is also outdone by the labor costs are massive. Like the actual creating, putting a watch together, making a watch go is incredibly labor intensive. And
yeah, but now they have a lot of automation. I mean, let's not also obfuscate the fact that all of the brands are using automation. I mean, nothing is really handmade anymore. Even the likes of Patek and Lange, they still use automation and some kind of robotic help.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I keep interrupting. And
no worries there. Please.
Did you switch the super chat button on?
Oh,
have you done anything?
Turn the switch on! Yeah. Turn the switch on!
That's why we're here. Sorry, Professor. I think it just might be a little bit too, maybe a little bit too serious a conversation. I understand it's a very important conversation.
But no, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I think the thing is, it's best. This is an escape from reality of day-to-day things. And what watches make you happy? What watches make you happy? Does it make you happy when you see a student or a fellow academic with a nice watch? What makes you happy, Professor?
No, academics don't wear expensive watches.
No.
But first of all, they don't make the income to support expensive watches. And secondly, they don't appreciate watches in general. I mean, they find them not interesting. They're into more knowledge acquisition and books and promotion of their academic standing and so forth. But I don't find a lot of people. Some I do, but not too many. But I'm more or less in the category of the general sad club, which is day dates and Rolex in general. I appreciate the other brands, and there is no right or wrong brand. It's what your pocket can support and what you think is good for you. I mean, I personally wouldn't go and buy a Patek unless I am a multi-millionaire, because that's a.
Well, it depends what level of Patek, but you can get a Patek for £10,000.
Yeah, but why should I mythicize something that I cannot really possess? The complications are very nice of Patek as well as Lange, but it's not within my reach, so I wouldn't touch them.
Yes, but here we go. Super chat from SD43. Oh no, we've done that one. Turn the switch. You turn the switch, Sirocco?
I don't have a Switch anymore. My Switch got deactivated a long time ago. Sorry.
I got to tell you, Professor, it's inspiring to have you in this community. I've got to tell you, sometimes I look at some of the comments and that they're in it really enchants my interest. But then I have someone smart like you in the audience, and I say, geez, we must be doing something right to attract
I
a
think
broad.
you are. I think you are. You know, why
a
not?
broad base there. It's.
I mean, we can talk about Rolex predictions if you want, so everybody can hear.
Why don't they bring out a Coke? Why don't they bring out a Coke? What the fuck is wrong with them? Tell me. I don't get this. It's so simple. It was a classic. Why don't they bring out a Coke?
Archie, I heard.
Yes.
I don't know where the hell it was. Today, yesterday, it could have been tomorrow. Could have been. Maybe I dreamt it.
Yes.
Something about a Yachtmaster 42 in titanium.
Yes.
I heard this. Now,
they have been talking
also
about
heard
this
2 years ago, and
yeah.
I got laughed at and whatever, and then suddenly this has come up again. What's your thought?
Look, I tell you what, I find it interesting because they released that 50 mil monster, diving monster.
Because they had the one that Alex Thompson Racing. He's a British professional.
Yes,
yacht
I
racer.
think that I think we're going to see more titanium if they embrace that metal. I think it's. I've never been a big fan of titanium, to be honest with you.
But it's very unknown, actually. It's an unknown material to you. Let's be fair. You're pretty. Everything is steel. You know.
Would you get a titanium watch, Professor?
No.
No.
They can keep it.
Why?
No, I wouldn't. I mean,
it's a very quick no.
It's a quick no because it would have to be a big watch. You know, Rolex will place it in a big case, and I don't necessarily believe that this is the way to go. I would wear a gold date. Go crazy. I wouldn't. You know, steel is steel, and titanium. I think they should keep it with good for Tudor. The cheap watch.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. I got no idea why they brought out a titanium Rolex. In some ways, I'm really disappointed they crossed that.
It's like when they produced the left at GMT, the lefty. It's the same thing. They can do whatever they want to do. They don't really care what the market says. They know that people will buy it.
I want them to bring out a steel watch on an Oyster Flex, like a new entry level. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, but Oyster Flex is kept for the expensive
precious metal. I know, but wouldn't it be like, because Rolex is becoming so expensive now, you could start people off, instead of outlaying for a Submariner, you could buy your Submariner on rubber and then get the bracelet. Sorry, Scratchy, new member, Scratchy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scratchy. Sorry to interrupt.
It's I got to tell you, the other thing is, it's really quite. I don't know why they couldn't, to help bring the prices to. Wouldn't it be cool? You could buy a Submariner on rubber and then add a bracelet later on. The wife could buy you it's like a Pandora set. You know, you can get the watch first, then you could add a bracelet, and then later on maybe you could get flip lock or some other thing. You know what I mean? Like, they don't seem to make these things affordable. The middle classes. I'll tell you something. What I found, Professor, is that You have got people who never before could ever have dreamed of having a Rolex, not putting them down, but in the past, I find that people, they aspired to get a Rolex, and when they say Rolex, they meant one Rolex. They didn't mean a hoard of them. They didn't have a collection. And I remember I was talking to this lady. This was years ago. Her dad he had a Jaguar. He was quite well-off businessman. And she said, "Oh yeah, my dad's a Rolex man." I said, "Oh, how many did he have?" "Oh, only one." Whereas now, so many people have a collection. You know what I mean?
I think that's the other sad thing about this recent event. I mean, everybody seems to be having a collection. They don't enjoy them. They hoard them. They look at them as if they are precious things, and then they die. So I'm a great believer in having one or two watches, enjoying them, kill them, throw them. You know, it's just a material thing. It's an object. It's not curing cancer.
No, that's fair point. Fair point.
And then they get into a financial mess by buying stuff. They don't think sensibly. So they get in a mess. But that's okay. That's the story about capitalism. You know, people buy stuff that bored.
Can you drop the link, Arch?
Sure, we can drop links. No problems at all there.
But
who wants to come on?
Yeah, I don't know why they won't produce the Coke. The Coke. I think the Coke will come, but not yet.
Okay, I think it's when they're desperate. They're going to keep it up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think they will do the Milgauss either this year or next year.
They're going to drop the Milgauss. Apparently, they're going to drop the Milgauss.
Yeah, the Milgauss will come in a new case, whether it's this year, next year, the year after. You know, they like to have a 2-3 year hiatus to test certain things. You know, the bracelet is being tested, the case is being tested. When I mean bracelet, it's the Jubilee that they're testing it. You know.
Here's Strider.
Good evening. Archie, is it my imagination, or is it the 70th anniversary of the Submariner this year?
That's correct.
How about a white dial Submariner? What do you reckon?
Interesting point.
I reckon it'd look fantastic. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic and a winner.
Or did it come out in 54 though?
They'll do a anniversary one, but it will be unobtainable.
Oh God! Well, let's be fair. Anything about Rolex is unobtainable. But just for argument's sake, what do you think about a white dial Submariner?
Oh, it'll be incredible! Absolutely incredible.
Amazing. I think it'd be an absolutely amazing watch.
What was it like when the Kermit was released? Apparently that was panned, the Kermit.
Well, that's fucking green. I don't. Green is not my thing. I don't understand the green, but I get people like it. There you go, Adam Valentino.
Back then, nobody wanted them. Though.
Blue bezel. How's that? That'd be fucking amazing, wouldn't it?
Platinum sub. Could they do a platinum sub? See.
No, I don't think they would. No, I think that's probably too much. They're
like me, very conservative.
They've got to make it affordable to the masses. If they do something, they have to make it affordable to the masses, not just something which is. Let's be fair. Whatever they do, whether it's fucking a bright pink friggin' dial and bezel, or a white dial and blue bezel, or whatever. That's going to be affordable, but unobtainable to the masses. A platinum would be unobtainable to everyone, except for very, very few.
Yeah. Platinum's an interesting metal.
It's an interesting metal.
It's hard.
I don't quite see it happening.
It's hard, but traditionally it was above gold in price. Now it's half the price.
But the funny thing is that gold is more valuable than platinum.
I keep hearing how careful I have to be with my platinum bezel Yachtmaster 40. You know, so if you're that careful with a platinum bezel, how fucking careful you gonna have to be with a platinum total watch? You know what I mean? You know
No, because platinum's hard. Platinum's a hard metal. It's the best of both worlds. It's precious and hard. Our rings are made of platinum. Cartier platinum.
Yeah. I like discount. How about I'm going to elaborate on his comment. They should bring out a diver's pocket watch. How about a Submariner pocket watch?
You know, I really like that white.
Archie, you look speechless. I've never seen you speechless before. You're looking like you just don't
What was
know
that watch we saw last night?
That's crazy, man.
That Philip Jaffour, that big white watch with the long Roman numeral dials and the Breguet hands. That would be a nice pocket watch.
I got to be honest. Yeah, that's just crazy. That really. White dial Submariner. They'll never do that. You know, they had a white dial GMT, don't you, Sirocco?
I've got no idea because
the
I know
GMT.
We have a super chat from Troopers. Just
Trooper,
sorry, Rolling Mania. I have to do this because I have to get some other way.
Trooper, $5. El Professo, Sir Angelic or O'Sheen. El Professo. I love El Professo. He's fantastic.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. He's cool. He's very cool.
A little bit depressing on the economics.
We love the professor. I love the economics.
He knows that.
It's reality. Politics, economics.
Reality, but unfortunately, not everyone
wants to know
reality.
History.
Yeah, it is.
I reckon the 1950s in America seems to be the best decade. They say everybody had a car and a house.
Let's just talk about. Forget the United States. We're global. Remember this. This is something you have to remember. We're global.
Yeah, I know, but I watched a documentary and a lot of them were saying, they were talking about America history, right? And they were saying that post-World War II, 1950s was the boom, was the glory years, the workers, everybody had their slice of the pie. And then since then, the rich just got richer and the divide started, between the rich and the poor. And it was very interesting.
That's a total global thing where the rich got richer. The UK,
the UK 80s,
massive period of austerity during the 50s.
Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher.
But don't you see that normal people now? The standard of living, normal people are buying like Strider, not to put you down there, but normal people can get a Panda. You're a normal person.
Yeah.
You can get a Daytona, no problem.
I'll get that. Get a house though.
You own an apartment.
Yeah, it's not a 3-bedroom house with a backyard though, is it, Arch? That's what everybody had. They had a quarter-acre block. They had a quarter-acre block, 3 bedrooms, a wife and 2 kids, 4 kids. Right. Can't afford that.
Let me tell you, mate. Having that backyard the quarter-acre block is so overrated because then you've got all that maintenance where you're mowing.
I miss mowing the lawn. We grew up with an acre. I miss mowing the lawn, the horses, the dogs.
I never miss mowing the lawn after my first house.
The smell of freshly cut grass mixed with petrol. Beautiful. No. And I love the thing I love about mowing the lawn is when you turn around and do the next line, you see the progress that you made. I love that.
No, I can think of better things to do on my Saturday or Sunday when I was working anyway.
Fair enough. Horses for courses.
Used to hate it. They're the best lawn in the world now.
Yeah. Well, you covered it with concrete like the Greeks.
No. If I step to the left, I fall in the drink. If I step to the right, I'm lucky. I stand on the dock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're in the boat, a boatman.
Yeah. Sovereign says, I would like to see a 75th anniversary on sale to Joe Average without licking 80s. Something. Yeah. There's a few comments. Jonathan said something about I don't think Rolex will make a sub with a white dial. That will remain exclusive to the Explorer
Yeah.
Polar and possibly Explorer 36. Yeah, and NATO, going back to your comment about the United States in the 50s, it's all relative, right? That they still had apartheid in the US in the 50s.
Yeah, they had some of that too. I can't remember
Ralph
what it was. Though. It was very,
Ralph Doof super chat.
Here we go, super chat. Oh, we've got TW on here.
Yeah.
Ralph Doof, £2.50. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph.
Euro.
Woo.
€2.50. Thank you.
What's that about? That's about.
Good evening, Arch.
Hey, what's
Good
going
evening,
on?
Scirocco. Good evening. Good
Hello,
evening,
TW.
Strider. Good evening. Good, mate. And good evening, Professor. How are you?
Hey,
Good
hello.
to
Good evening.
good to hear your analysis there before. Some realism, some reality. Very good. Just wanted to ask one question, if I could, to the professor. In retail at the moment, post-COVID in the UK, how is it?
It's getting impacted massively because population got used to ordering online. A lot of shops are closing. Those that closed immediately after COVID, they never opened. And you know, a lot of high street shops, retail shops are facing financial problems. So I think the entire retail industry is changing very quickly, and it's moving into e-commerce. Purchasing power so far is stable, unlike what we were told 8 months ago that it's gonna completely fall apart. The UK is technically in a recession, but still they're buying. So in terms of purchasing power, it's there. But what was said before, income gaps are huge. But overall, retail doesn't look very good. Globally, that is, not just the UK alone. I don't know if it's helpful, my answer.
The UK, they're
Yes, no,
saying is we're back to economics, which is
The interesting thing is,
Super
Professor, I think a lot of traditional retailers in my country, Australia, we're seeing a lot of department stores.
Yeah.
Which the department stores were a beacon of middle class success. You go to a department store. Unfortunately, I must admit, I don't really like David Jones or Maya. They don't discount, and I'm more of a bargain. I want good brand names, but I want a deal. I want like in Australia, expensive fragrances. The number one store for fragrances. It's not a department store. It's not the boutiques. It's actually Chemist Warehouse, because they discount. And sometimes there's some good brands at good prices there. And this is, I think consumers themselves are very budget conscious now. They're not prepared to pay. Like going back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, department stores had their prime, but now they're really being hurt. And another big seller is actually duty free. Duty free stores are like the number one seller for watches in a lot of countries.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the duty free has they've changed the tax equation on that, so it's no longer what it used to be there.
Well, the duty free is a big scam, by the way.
Yes,
it is a big
it
scam.
is.
In the UK, it's duty full, not duty free.
Yes, they don't have duty free. Even at the airport, there's no duty free,
Yeah. They've done a study about global duty free shops, and the price difference between the market and the airport duty free is negligible. Even the stuff we get on duty free at the retail place, right, at a shop.
Yes.
They say, oh, you won't pay VAT, right? 20% off.
Yes.
You actually don't get 20% back. You only get, depending on the country, because that's a country rule, something between 8 to 12%. The rest goes to the duty-free shop that manages the handling that you do, right?
Yeah.
So it's a scam as well. I mean, yes, you get maybe 7% off from your watch, and if you're buying a $200,000 watch, you'll get it. It's good to have it duty free. If you're buying a $3,000 watch, well,
But let's be fair, Arch. I mean, you know, Australia's import bloody rules like anyone, better than anyone. If you bought a watch, a Rolex, if you got a Rolex duty free, say just for argument's sake in Dubai, you come into Australia, you immediately have to declare it because it's over $1,000, and they're going to whack you on with that tax anyway. So it really doesn't matter.
The other thing I wanted to highlight, so I don't sound like I'm bashing only the UK, the US is not faring very well on the issue of income inequality. In fact, income inequality has widened in the US, and about 1/3 of the US population goes from paycheck to paycheck. So, about 33% of the population, that if they lose their jobs, everything cascades down and they lose everything: house, mortgage, car, and everything, all the perks that go with it. So, capitalism is facing some serious issues, right?
Yes.
Can I ask the professor? Is capitalism dead?
No, it's not. It's it's the
best system. Well, put it this way: communism didn't seem to work.
It's just the left are trying to take over capitalism. That's why it's not working. That's when they got rid of the big guy in 2020.
The reason I asked about the retail before is I saw an interesting show about some suburbs in Sydney, Western Sydney, something like Leichhardt, I think, Leichhardt, and the main, like you'd call it high street. It's just they're ghost towns now. Every second store is for lease, and they're saying that the landlords are using a tax loophole. They're using it as a tax get out or something, because some of the people that they've been there for 40, 50 years, and they said they have never seen it as bad as it is now.
What's that? Sorry, what are you talking about?
Retail, Archie, retail.
I'm just going to read a comment.
But I think retail's changing online. Just hang on. Retail's changing online. You never used to have Amazon or eBay. It's people are spending money, but they're spending it in different ways. Like, I'll give you an example.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Let's not just bag the system. I wanted to buy a case for my mobile phone. If I go down to my shopping mall to get a case, it's $30, $40. I jump on eBay, I can buy a fucking case for my mobile phone for like $10 posted. Well, is that now? It's not even 20% more. It's fucking 3 times the price. So I'd rather just buy it online. This is what's happened. You can't blame.
Yeah, but that's down to rentals and wages and all that.
That's not an economic collapse. That's just the reality. I mean, an inefficient way of doing business in capitalism. It forces out inefficient businesses so efficient businesses can take that gap. That's pure market forces.
It's evolution.
That's called win-win. TD, it's how the fuck is that communism? What the fuck are you talking about, Strider? You're out of your fucking mind.
I'm saying the left is trying to
destroy
capitalism.
The left? What the hell are you talking? It's nothing to do with the left or the right. It's market forces. It's just market forces.
No, because they want to close down coal mining and all this climate change stuff. They want to close down
Ignore that.
the fossil fuel industry.
To do with retail. We're talking about retail. You're jumping
they're talking
to a
about
subsidizing.
You're subsidizing.
I got to make a cup of coffee for my wife
energy
before she starts work to keep the economic appliance running. I'll be back in a minute. Okay.
What a fucking good excuse to run away now.
I'll be back. William Money. $5. Many in the West, including the US, have moved away from capitalism to crony capitalism. Bloated government officials point to capitalism as the problem.
There's champagne
And
socialists,
on the
Archie.
same subject, Arch, before you
Yeah.
run away, he's fucking
Exactly, Strider. Champagne
Yeah.
socialism.
There was a comment just a little bit before. Let me find it. Let me try and find it. We don't have any capitalism. That's the problem. We have corporatism. And that's exactly what it means. Yeah. It's corporatism.
Look,
So the little man can't get a
the
fucking
West
head
has
and
reached peak.
own a little corner shop or anything. Or have it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was.
Well, you can't have
Exactly
a store in the fucking shopping centre because the rents and power fucking bills and everything are so ridiculously inflated. It's just crazy. You go in shopping centres now. We got them in the region I'm in at the moment. We got two very small shopping centres. One is total dead. It only took one store to close down. One major draw card to say, right, I know we're pulling out of this area, and the whole shopping centre died.
Well, yeah, it's
just fucking
more of a
crazy.
housing
And
thing,
this
though,
is the
isn't it?
problem.
Because rents go up and the landlords jack up the rents.
Rents go
small
up
businesses
and
can't
houses,
afford
it's
to stay
everything.
there.
But that's when you're looking into your business world in retail environments, it's your corporates that own the fucking major centres for these poor guys to try and make a fucking crust. And unless and even if you're a franchise business, you're fucked because your overheads straight away before you even start. You buy a franchise, your overheads are fucked.
I can understand. I understand what Archie said before about okay, yeah, why would he go and pay $40 or $50 for a phone case when he can get it for 10 on eBay? Well, look, I'm a sort of I know there's close to where I am, there's a little shopping centre. There's a lady in there. She's got a kiosk. She does phone protection, screen phones, cases, things like that. I'd rather they're a little husband and wife operation. I'd rather go and give her the money, to be honest.
I agree with you, PW. I agree 100% with you. I would as well. But, just in reply to Archie going online, going to eBay and spending $10 for the same product, that guy hasn't got the overheads. Can you imagine the overheads that
Archie had to go at me about retail. I wasn't talking about retail. I'm talking about the left is thwarting the progress of capitalism in the West.
Strider, forget your
Can I say something?
It is. You don't think that Joe Biden and AOC, Nancy Pelosi.
Let the professor talk. Let the professor talk.
The US is a basket case.
Strider, stop.
Let the professor talk. Let the professor talk.
Let the professor, because he is qualified in this.
Okay.
Let me say something. There is another problem we tend to forget. Taxation. Taxes is killing the West. And if we are in the UK paying 45% tax with a conservative government, can you imagine what will happen with the Labour government? Taxes at this rate is pushing businesses out. There are no businesses coming in. There is no innovation. There is no small and medium-sized enterprises, and it's killing the fabric.
Yeah,
we need to support NHS, right? They hike taxes. NHS is bankrupt. They do these COVID measures. They try to support the people involved in menial jobs, and the system in the UK is semi-socialist. It's not a capitalist system.
Yeah, because it's not a true conservative government. You don't have the same with a lot of the conservative governments now. They're too scared to really be conservative because they get bullied by the mainstream media, which is left, which is more left leaning.
Come on, forget this media fucking bullshit. It's rubbish.
Please, are you serious?
Sorry,
ABC?
Strider,
do you watch the ABC?
Let me just say something to you, Strider. Now, we're in Australia, okay? So forget the rest of the world. We're in Australia. We just had a right-wing government for what, fucking 10 years?
Yeah.
And what did he do? How good was this guy? How good were they? How fucking great were they? How good was Scott Morrison?
They didn't. Abbott was. They
he
didn't
was
quite
shit.
stand up,
Come on, just say it. He was shit.
No, he wasn't.
And now we have a
Did all right.
so-called
Saved
land.
us from
They're all
mass
the
death in
fucking
China.
same. They're all the same.
No,
They're all the
well,
same because you're trying
yeah,
to
the major
the
parties
narrative.
are
Let
kind
me
of.
try to hang on. Let me just say something. What you're
Yeah, you've been saying
forgetting
something all
is-
night.
No, I've been saying something for 2 minutes because I haven't had a word
I
in.
mention anything political and you get triggered like a little bitch.
No, but hang on, just hang on,
okay,
hang 1 minute, Strider, as an independent body, let me just say something. One thing about you is I noticed that you're a fucking lunatic right winger, right? Now, let me tell you this. I'm on both sides of politics. I've been on both sides.
Sense.
Let just quiet. Let me just say something, because as soon as anyone goes against you, there's sudden. Now, let me say something to you, right? I was in the Labor Party to pick up girls, and the problem was most of the girls were having sex with members of parliament. And when I joined the Liberal Party, which, by the way, Professor, our Liberal Party is our Conservative Party, I got my first offer there. So I have a lot of respect for conservative politics in Australia. But let me say this. The reality is, Strider, I love you. You're a good man, and I love you, right?
Yeah.
But the honest truth is, ScoMo was a fucking cunt. Okay?
He was a prat.
ScoMo was a fucking asshole.
Fucking
Okay?
He wasn't a good
He was
leader.
a
we've
He wasn't a good
slimy
leader.
son of a bitch who got fired from the tourism board for
Yeah.
being a
Yeah,
fucking asshole.
Yeah,
He set
I
himself
look what he
up
did.
with COVID and super ministry. The other ministers didn't even know about this. He is a fucking asshole. Now, that's not to say Kevin 007 was any better, because I honestly think Kevin 07 was a fucking major letdown.
He's an egomaniac. Yeah.
Let me say this. Tony Abbott, the right-wing Catholic, not only is he out of touch when he was in office, right, with fucking Peter Credlin. She wasn't an elected official. That was his bitch in the office. He couldn't put her in her place, right? And he stood up for George Pell. What a dickhead! I don't know about you.
Still fucking is. He still
Tarocco,
is. Can you believe that?
I'm more conservative than Labor. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Let me declare my hand. But even me, as a conservative, I realize Tony Abbott is fucking lunatic. The guy stood up for George Pell. All he had to do is, look, I don't want to comment on him. He's whatever. He should have shut his fucking mouth. Instead, he came out and said he's a future saint. I mean, fuck me dead. Shut your fucking mouth sometimes. You know what I mean? So, Strider, for you to come out and say ScoMo was good and Abbott was good.
I didn't say that. I was just
Can
saying
I say
that.
something?
Yes.
So I can break a little bit the ice of contradiction here. And so I think politicians in the West are bankrupt, Archie. I think they're really
The only
messed up.
problem is, Professor, the alternative to having a democracy, a constitutional democracy, is dictatorships, military coups, military leaders, or brutal dictators. And I'm afraid I don't want that shit. I don't want that shit.
How do you think America's fared since 2020 when Trump left? It's gone pretty bad.
Hang on. I think you're taking. I
Is
got to
the
be
West
completely
bankrupt,
honest.
Professor? Is the West
Sorry?
bankrupt, Professor? Is the West?
No, it's
Is
not.
the West
is not bankrupt.
bankrupt?
You know why the West isn't bankrupt? You look at the infrastructure for every country. Australia, you've got railways, you've got coal mines, you've got electricity grids. If you actually valued how much is this infrastructure, airports, roads, all this shit that is in a country, we're technically nowhere near bankrupt, okay? Okay, to say the West is bankrupt, who do we owe it to? Who do we owe this money to? Who's the money owed to? The Martians? Who the fuck is this money owed to? Because the reality is, with modern monetary theory, a sovereign country doesn't need to borrow money from other countries. It can produce it itself.
Theory. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm just
Do you
telling
know
you
actually who runs the country?
So should we become a republic? Should we become a republic?
It makes no difference if we were a republic or a constitutional monarchy. It makes absolutely no difference to us, to be totally honest with you. But the thing is, to say the West is bankrupt is just because
The West is
Just because-
destroying itself.
Let's
with
face it.
weak
I don't want
leadership.
to put anyone down, Strider, but you have done fucking well in life. You've got a house, you got a wife, you got a new car, new watches. What the fuck is wrong with this capitalist dream for you? You are winner, chicken fucking dinner. The problem
going
is,
all right,
let me
but
tell you what the
I think he
problem
could
is.
do a lot better.
People are so fucking
well,
ungrateful now.
he-
They are so
he's doing all right.
ungrateful.
He's doing
I
all
think
right
he
at the
could be
moment,
more
Archie, but
efficient.
he could lose all that in 6 months.
You know,
He could lose all
with
that in 6 to
electricity
12
prices,
months.
How could he
electricity
lose all
prices
that in
Well,
going
the
up
six
for a lot
months?
of people.
Well, the shit, like me, the shit could hit the fan and the
How
marriage
could he-
could
how
break
could he
down.
This whole
lose that in-
climate
and
change
He
stuff.
doesn't have children.
Yeah, but I can't afford it
He doesn't have
because
Well, this
housing
is-
is too
okay?
expensive. People
Okay,
can't
well,
always
this is
afford
the
got
way we're
excuses.
going.
anymore.
You've
Because
always
housing
got
is
We're not
excuses.
reproducing. We're not reproducing, Archie. We're not
Yeah.
reproducing
No,
like
but
we were.
That's
we
why
don't-
we're
not
I don't
reproducing.
his argument. I don't think his argument has got any substance to it.
Well, it does because
You've done
if
really
you can't
well.
see,
Your problem is, I tell you what your problem is. You're selfish and greedy, and you don't want to, instead of buying that new car, you could have had a kid.
what?
You could have bought a banger.
Maybe he doesn't want to have children. Maybe he doesn't want to have
Don't
children.
blame the economy. Don't blame the market system for his not
I'm
wanting
not
to have.
blaming the
I didn't
market
say he
system,
had
I'm
to have
blaming the
children.
political
But what I'm
landscape
saying
today.
is, he
sounds like a
has
smart
to-
man.
it's
He's
a-
a smart man,
And
Strider.
you can't
He
see
sounds like
the
a
march
smart
of
man.
the left through the institutions, the ending of
Sorry?
the ending of our national day, and you know, climate change, the climate change cult.
No, you're jumping topics. That's
No, because I like what Trump was trying to do in that movement. You know, strong, secure borders. Look after your own country first.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with Australia. That's America. That's
That-
nothing
that
to
was
do
the
with
question
us.
I was
I
talking
asked. What
about
the
the
fuck has
world and the
Trump got to
West
do
in
with
general,
Australia?
and leadership.
Hey, Sirocco,
Fuck
see
me.
me and you. Hello, Mr. G. Hello, Mr. Sexy. Let me say
Hello,
this to you.
Mr.
How you going, boys?
GMC.
You know what,
Mr.
Sirocco?
Sexy.
I
Mr.
actually
I,
am
I,
more.
I concentrate on the country I live in, and that's it.
Yeah,
With
I
a
do
little
too,
bit,
but
because
I'm
have,
interested in international affairs.
I'm sorry, but you're too big on Mr. Trump and forgetting of the Trump politics and blah, blah, blah. And you seem to be concentrating on that rather than the Australian politics. Because the Australian politics is what's making where
that
you
movement,
go.
It's that movement that Trump...
Forget the movement. Forget the Trump movement.
Party
Trump,
back.
I had a movement this morning. It's probably as important as Trump at the moment. You know.
Can I ask the professor a question?
Australia.
Can I ask the professor a question? A quick question. Has globalization been good for the world?
He says
Overall,
it has.
yeah.
I asked him that before. He said yes, it generally has been good.
Yeah, that's
I
all
mean,
right.
we buy watches. Watches are produced at a reasonable price. Rolex is a fantastic watch, reasonably priced, versus the rest of the industry, and this is because of globalization.
Mm.
And actually, because of YouTube and globalization, we're able to do this today. Because
I
of
think,
innovation and all of that. So I think when hard times land, people try to blame globalization. But look, let me say something about this West thing and democracy and all that. It's really a hard call. What the problem in the West is based on too many promises which they can no longer deliver. The social safety nets, the kind of support system, free education, it's not free anymore. Free healthcare, it's not that free anymore, and you have to wait in line and probably you die before you go to hospital. It's all private healthcare. I mean, these things have become difficult because politicians have overpromised. They haven't been able to deliver. Remember, politicians, have you met a politician who made it in real life and they're businessmen and then become politicians? I mean, with some exceptions of Trump, who, bankrupted himself a few times. But that's not a good example because it gets us into an extreme discussion. But mostly they're useless people who don't know how to run a business. And they go into politics. And the West has a problem. Now, is democracy better than authoritarianism? Well, for a long time, for many centuries, we lived in authoritarianism. And today, more countries live in authoritarianism than in democracies. But democracy has a deficit. It has a problem of delivering, and there is a gap between the promises and society.
The
and
politicians make
cannot
decisions.
match it.
Short-term
Here we go.
decisions.
Turtle
Thank you,
Knight,
Archie.
$2, $3. Strider loves the right, but love his left. RBTU. What's RBTU? I don't know what that is.
It's rail bus tram.
So in just in commentary to that, your analysis there, Professor, we have the West. Are we still living in like a third tier, a 3-tier global? We've got the first world, the second world, and the third world. Or as globalization brought these third world countries that are still languishing at the bottom, brought them up to say I can go and turn on the shower and I've got hot water. There's some parts of the world where people don't have that. They don't have running water. They don't have flushing toilets.
I mean, in India, they don't have toilets. 600 million people take a shit out in the open land, and they die.
That's right.
There are how many thousands die because of diarrhea? Kids every day around the world because they drink dirty water. I mean, yes, we are privileged. Going back to Archie, we are privileged, and we're sitting here pontificating about the future of democracy, or the West. But there are some fundamental problems, right, that haven't been fixed, and we're just getting lazier. The West is getting lazier, fatter. Okay,
long years,
they're not hungry.
80 years of peacetime.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have war. War is not going to solve anything. Believe you me.
Yeah, but they've gotten
Turtle Knight,
$2.
$2. Rail, bus, tram union left equals Rolex income job.
By the way, that was $3.
$3. After taxes, it's $2. Okay,
forget the tax.
After taxes. Let me say, Strider's a good man. You know what? He works hard. He saves his money. I actually do love my Strider. Okay, I love you, Strider.
Yeah.
The thing is, I honestly think, the truth is, we're seeing a widening gap, the haves and the have-nots. And we're also seeing a situation where housing costs in the world have never been this high. They said traditionally you don't want to spend more than 30% of your household income on housing costs. In some places, it's over 50% of the household income goes to keep the house. That's whether you're renting or whether you're paying a mortgage. It's such a lot of pressure, and
that's why you got people like Strider who said, like you said, he's done well. Okay, he's a property owner, whatever. When you've got that situation, you've got couples who want to become homeowners and have other properties as well, income producing properties, and then they say, well, we're not having children. We're not going to have children.
Yeah, like you can't. Like I made good income, and we could barely afford maybe one kid in a 1-bedroom unit. But if you wanted to have like a 3-bedroom house in Sydney with 2 or 3 kids, that's impossible now for most people.
But haven't you heard of Mount Druitt?
Exactly.
Sorry to interrupt, but don't miss the super chat, please.
Anyway,
Rolex,
what 70-year Rolex is going to get? Big crown, you reckon? Big crown?
To cover my super chat tax. Turtle Knight. Thank you, Turtle Knight.
Strider, go and buy a sub date. You'll be happy.
I am happy, Sirocco. It sounds like you a bit triggered by me tonight. That's good.
No, not at all.
We love debate. Look, let's not get confused, Strider.
I didn't call you a name. You called me a bitch. Hey,
yeah, because you. Okay, fair enough.
No. There you go. That's
You're talking over me though, so I just had to.
Well, I haven't been.
It's cool. You guys are cool. Be cool.
Well, we got a bit of conflict there. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. A bit of energy. That's what the show needs.
I thought I was going to see Archie explode just before I jumped on.
Super chat.
Super chat.
How long are we going tonight?
Keep us going here. Super chat. Keep going. Keep coming. Oh, we did that one. That was to cover my tax. I did that one.
Done.
That was the super chat tax.
Yeah, we'll go 10:15. What do you think there?
Well, we did half an hour extra today, Arch, this morning, and that worked out
We got
pretty good for you. So, what do you reckon about another half an hour? Can you do half hour Sunday night?
We can give it a squirt, you know.
Go through to 10:30 and then call.
How was your show? How did you find running your own show? Sorry, Professor.
That wasn't my show, Arch. That wasn't mine.
Professor, he wanted to say something. He wants to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Let's go back to watches, Arch. Let's talk about your one and done Rolex piece. One and done.
Yes. You know what I think the most perfect one and done is? I got to tell you this. After the burglary, I think honestly, Bluesy could be one and done forever. It's a dress watch because it's got gold and it's glamorous. It's a sports watch. It's a diver, and it's waterproof. You've got to be careful with it because it's got the gold. The gold is a little soft, but you know what? I think the Bluesy could be a one and done, Professor.
It depends if you got OCD like I do.
And
Bluesy
Brothers, yes.
But Arch, you love material things more than human beings, don't you? You love the material things more than human beings.
Sometimes.
Mostly.
No, mostly.
Is that wrong? Is that wrong? That statement? Is that wrong, or is that bad? Or what are you saying there? True.
Is it?
Can you stop bullying our new friend Strider? Sorry.
No. It's good. I love it.
I apologize for speaking.
Do you value material goods more than people, Mr. TW?
No.
Definitely not. No, definitely not.
What do you value more?
What do I value? I don't look.
Family and friends. Family and friends.
My family comes first before anything.
You know how many times, Archie, I've given
my family are scumbags.
As a gift, watches.
That's probably why you're the way you are.
How many?
Many times. Many times. I get enjoyment from seeing the watches I had to other people's wrists. I enjoy that. You know, and if I'm gifted a watch, I gift it to somebody else. I don't need to have it. How many watches will I wear?
How many watches does a man need? They don't need that many. In fact, the more you have, the more pain it causes when they're taken or lost or stolen from you.
You're more.
I reckon unhappy. 3 in the box, 1 on the wrist.
Yeah, at most.
I've never heard you say that.
Unhappy because you keep on feeding Archie this glutinous urge to keep on buying the next one, the best, the Coke, the Sprite, the 7-Up, the Coca-Cola, the Pepsi, the souvlaki, the shawarma, it's all full of shit. We live in this, we go in a rabbit hole buying all this shit that we'll never wear.
So are you saying we shouldn't buy into the hype?
No, buy whatever, but buy 1, 2, or 3. Wear them, sell them, maim them, give them to people, but don't go into this. I have to get the next one and the next one, the panda and the manda, and people become sick.
Yeah, because you won't have time
get the one and done, or 2 and done, and that's it. And lead a happy life and believe in, have relationships, friends and family. Take care of that because we don't live long. I mean, one day we're here, the next we're not.
Yes, we don't live long. That's so true, isn't it?
Professor, can you stop reminding me about that? I'm old. I'm older than anyone here.
No, you're not. You remind me of this motorcycle expert in the UK who does this show. He has a show about motorcycles and going around the country. Are you brothers, by the way?
I don't know who you're talking about. I'm older than you. I've got to be.
No, you are. But there is this guy on TV. He has a motorcycle. You are.
You're not talking about billion-dollar Bogan, are you?
I don't know. I'll get you the name, but he's a funny guy.
Yeah, that's the Australian guy. Is he Australian?
He wears also a bluesy.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Oh, maybe
Nothing wrong
not.
with that. Nothing wrong with the bluesy. Thomas G. Super Chat.
Thomas G. Super Chat, €2. Mr. GMT needs to add a Pepsi on Jubilee.
I agree. Definitely agree.
Pepsi on oyster.
That's the traditional. Yes, that's the original. That's OG.
Is for the ancient Greeks.
What's that? The what?
For the ancient Greeks.
Which one? What is
the Jubilee?
Jubilee.
Is it?
Jubilee.
Yeah.
I think I've got a little bit of ancient Greek in me.
Okay, Jubilee. Jubilee.
No.
I will be back in one moment. Please keep the thing going. I just got to say goodbye to someone. I'll be back in a minute.
GMT, we need to make our own watch soon.
Make our own watch?
Our own watch. We need to start our own watch with this Chinese fellow, Mr. Benjamin. Chi.
Benjamin Chi. I've spoken to him. He's a lovely guy, Benjamin Chi.
We
but I don't think I want to do that.
You had me looking for a Chinese fellow. I'm thinking, well, we got GMT, we got TW. Strider doesn't sound Chinese either. No, she isn't. And I'm thinking, what the fuck?
Benjamin Chi is the guy that.
If you had the opportunity to make your own watch, what would you do, Professor? If you had the opportunity to engineer your own
watch.
time,
I wouldn't even bother.
Style would you?
I wouldn't bother making my own watch. I'll walk into the Rolex whatever and ask them for a platinum date, 40 millimeter with fluted bezel and
you won't get it. You won't get it. You won't get it.
Yeah, but he's got the opportunity. This is hypothetical.
I don't remember.
Hypothetical. Okay, I was saying if he wanted it now, they've only got it on.
No. I'll go in and get it.
Fluted.
That's the one.
My answer is, what kind of abortion would I want? And I wouldn't. So I just go to a shop and buy a watch that I like, not try and design something all for myself. It would end up being such an abortion. It'd be ridiculous.
Mr. GMT, what's your one and done? The one you're wearing.
Hello.
Oh, hello, Arch. How you going, mate?
I actually wanted to say to you, my dream, you know what my dream is, Professor? If I had a lot of money, it's not to get a paddock. Well, actually, I would get a few paddocks. No. But what I wanted to do is actually build a low-cost housing environment, right? Utilizing. What I want to do is have these little cabins available. The only problem is, if you made this type of housing available to people, say you made it very cheap, next to nothing to stay here, you'd end up creating a slum. You know what I mean?
You'd have the houses.
But I would like to make a kind of a little safe environment where anybody could come.
What's wrong with houses, Strider? What's wrong with houses?
Well, yeah, it becomes.
Here we go.
We've got
we've got a bit of class. We've got a bit of class bashing going on now.
£2. Sirocco, my grandma and wizard want a magic threesome. Thank you. Just be careful, Strider, because our good friend Miss TW, he has actually fallen on his sword. He was quite wealthy.
No, I don't mean. I don't like dog bludgers. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, but hang on, Mr. TW had some medical issues. Sometimes it's very easy. This is the thing about the conservatives that piss me off, Sirocco, is that they're very black and white. Oh, he doesn't work. He's a dog. But hang on a minute. What happens if you have an accident? What happens if this goes wrong? What happens if this?
Yeah, we have problems.
I admit one extreme is worse. That can be terrible, right? But
you're talking about low-cost housing, though. Now, like
what I'd like to do is my dream. tell you this, Professor, would be to have a low-cost, very simple, tiny home, little houses where people could come there and stay for very limited money. That's what that would be my dream, to build this kind of community, right? Now, it's not a commune because they would pay independent rent, and but it's to try and help people, because at the moment the big thing I find in Brisbane, we got a huge homeless problem.
And on the Gold Coast. It's everywhere, Archie. It's not only in Brisbane, it's right up and down.
Where do people stay on the Gold Coast when they're homeless? What do they do at the Gold Coast?
Well, they're on the street, but the problem is there's a lot of that is incorporated in mental health. There's a lot incorporated in substance abuse. Mental health issues. But what you're saying is that's good. It's being done. They're now trying to initiate those sorts of programs now, but they're not being done. I don't think they're being done with forethought, like you just said. You don't want a commune environment, but you want a collective environment, maybe.
And you don't want to create
now
a
that takes that. Well, that takes it away from. When do you say, well, we don't want government involvement? We don't want government involvement in this. We want to do this on our own. Now there is parts, some that are actually, they're doing that now. And then you have to have, you get away, you get into sort of like a body corporate situation where you have people who, someone's got to be in charge. Someone's got to be in charge, or otherwise you're going to end up. With mayhem, but I see what I see when I go, just down the road to somewhere, I don't know whether you're Southport, Southport.
Mr. TW, you live in a government housing or you live in private rental?
Super chat.
No, I'm not saying that. Not going there, Arch. I'm telling you what I live in. It's just I'm just reiterating what you said. That's a fantastic idea. If you but it's being done, but we've got too much government.
Got that super chat, Arch?
Here we go. Super chat. MLMJ £2. Oh, not sorry. Randolph Dolph. €2.50. Irish Nico is fake. Archie funny and authentic. Thank you, Ralph. We appreciate the super chat. What I wanted to try and do was to. I've been fascinated, Professor, with the tiny house movement. What do you think? You've seen those tiny houses, and I think minimalist. I actually would like to become a minimalist, Professor.
I think less is more.
Yeah, and I'm actually considering a number of changes in my life. But I got to tell you, the thing is this: you've got to be ready to embrace these things. I actually liked low-cost housing with like construction, like materials, like a big pipe, make a pipe into a feasible little unit. I like to look at many different alternative housing, good design as well as low cost. I want good design as the key element to the housing. Unfortunately, England had a huge social housing experiment. They had so much social housing, and unfortunately, what happened was Margaret Thatcher sold it all off. Right? She made it privatized. And then it no longer existed, which, to be honest with you, it was very good if you managed to capitalize and buy your own property. That is a success story. But where it became sad was that it also then the government took away its responsibility to provide housing to people. They said, well, that's not our problem now. That's private enterprise. So in some ways there, I think governments, TW, you need to have a safety net. Otherwise, people will be homeless on the street. I mean, that's not a good thing either, is it? Don't you agree, TW?
Yeah, of course you need a safety
a
net.
good society has a safety net for people who slip through no fault of their own, doesn't it? That what a good, caring society does? Otherwise, if you don't do that, you're going to have people just robbing each other or stealing.
That's right.
Killing.
We'll end up in a Mad Max society. We'll end in a Mad Max society if that wasn't happening. And that's the beautiful thing about Australia. Australia is we have these things. We have safety nets. And you can make it, sure. And you can lose it too. You can make it and you can lose it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Very easily. It's
I think Sirocco said he liked the 80s, so he must like Reagan and Thatcher at least.
Oh, absolutely. I love Thatcher.
So if you like Reagan and
I
Thatcher,
think
you're not a complete loony.
Well, no, I think you see what you've mistaken Trump for is Trump caring for the country. Trump cared for himself. That was it. And, I don't believe.
I don't like Margaret Thatcher because
he had a great narrative. Mr. Trump did. Thatcher did wonders. Thatcher went maybe a little bit too far. Reagan did wonders.
Yeah.
Again,
great legend.
You know, the big problem is people seem to think.
I don't like Thatcher because she let people die. She let people starve themselves to death in the main, in the long cash. Hang
on.
When you're talking of modern politics, and forget America because that's a different.
It's very easy to pick one issue and hate someone for one issue. You know what I mean? I think the best Liberal government we ever had in Australia, can I say this, Sirocco, was under Keating and Hawke. They were the best Conservative government we had for a long time.
They were fantastic.
Keating got super.
Keating was brilliant, and you're spot on correct. He was the best Liberal Labor.
They privatized. They privatized the Commonwealth Bank. They floated the dollar.
Floated the dollar.
They were very good Conservatives, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm actually more of that traditional Labor mold the way they were than the modern Labor, which is just hardcore left. I really like Hawke Keating era. And then I sort of became that Labor is completely different to the Labor today.
Eddie Abood was a nasty fucker, don't you think? In New South Wales.
Yeah, the state Labor, New South Wales, and that.
He was a nasty. I got to tell you, there's some nasty. I was a Nick Greiner fan, Sirocco. Mr. GMT, Nick Greiner. Remember Nick Greiner?
New South Wales, yeah.
No,
I don't know much about it. I really don't know much about politics.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. He invented that thing to investigate corruption. He ended up dying by the sword. That's the problem when you put these safeguards in there.
And what about Rand? What about Neville Rand? Neville Rand.
Well, you know, the sad thing about Neville Rand is you heard about his daughter, didn't you? Fucking hell. That's very.
What about Hawke's daughter? What about Hawke's daughter?
Yes. Yeah, well that's another tragedy, don't you think? I mean that's not a Labor thing. That's just a very personal because Neville Rand, she would have had every opportunity you could possibly want as a person, wouldn't she?
Super chat from MLMJ.
MLMJ, £2. Grandma was in Harry Peter and the Sorcerer's Bone. Thank you, MLMJ. We are getting some super chats there, Sirocco.
Yeah.
We're getting
We're
some.
just getting a few. Yeah, it's worth.
Why is Pelway muted? Why is Pelway muted? Is Pelway muted?
With Pelway?
No, he muted himself. Professor, I got to ask you one thing. What is success? I want to ask you this. You're an economics person. For somebody to say I am successful, how should we be measuring success? What's the key criteria you would say that's a successful man or that man is a failure? Tell me this.
No, very difficult, but has to do with family, a little bit of success in your professional life. But a balance between professional and family is very important. imagine if I had a professor of mine who wrote a very well-known book, and then later on an article before he passed. He died not too long ago. And they asked him, how do you measure success? And he said, I measure success on the basis of the friends and family I've created and the respect they command towards me and what I've done in life. So it's not how much money you really have in the bank. Whoever thinks that, success is how much money you made, they're idiots. Sorry to say.
Yes.
Sorry to say. And
If
this
you're
comes from
happy,
somebody who has taught and advised and created his own businesses. Somebody said that I'm just a professor, but I managed multi-billion-dollar businesses in my life. So, it's not how much money you have. Money helps to do certain things, to have a house, a car, send kids to school, and all of that. But beyond that, it's not success. Going
Here
to
we go.
university.
Here we go. Phoenician seed at $2. Check your email, Arch, for your eyes only. Thank you.
And Jolo Mofo.
What who is very blessed?
Jolo Mofo.
The people who are very
Is he watching
blessed.
porn? Sorry, Professor. I'm just trying to get his attention. Jolo
let me-
Mofo, 10
Oh, we got the rancher on. Is that the rancher?
Good morning,
Jolo
guys.
Mofo, super chat.
Hey.
Good morning.
We got another super chat here. The Jolo Mofo podcast, $10. Great morning chat and enjoying the panel, Arch. Thank you so much. And they've got that new podcast up.
yeah, Jolo.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have to listen to the podcast tomorrow.
Where is it at?
When you say that, Professor, you said I remember you saying before once. You said you had you were mentoring someone, and you came across them when they become successful, and they just brushed you, or they didn't email you back, or you didn't even get a thank you or an acknowledgement, or you talk about respect of.
Yeah, it's respect from your peers. It's respect from your family. People forget because naturally people are ungrateful. When they're little people and you help them, and then they become big, most often people don't look back where they came from. And they do not become appreciative of the people and the circumstances. In life, we tend to think that we made it because of us. But I tell you, in life, when you want to be really wealthy, and I'm not talking about multi-millions is chicken feed. When I'm talking about billions, in order to become a billionaire, it helps if you're smart, but most billionaires are either married into wealth or inherited wealth. The rest is just a statistical mistake, right? The Bill Gates of the world and the Warren Buffetts is the outlier. It's not the norm. So luck has a lot to do if you make money. Be at the right time, at the right place. We as humans translate luck into we're geniuses. That's when we feed into our ego and we say, oh man, I have a platinum. I have all the Rolex watches. I must be big deal. You're not big deal. When you go to that deathbed or hospital bed, you talk to God. And that's when you realize that we are all very little people. So all I'm saying is be human. Care about your neighbor as much as you can.
Exactly.
Wow.
Thank you, Professor.
Amen to that. You can't argue. There's no argument to go against that.
Clivers, how are you? What time is it in Oklahoma?
Well, it's actually 06:15 hours.
Oh.
And you're up?
6:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Why are you doing? What are you up at 6:15 in the morning?
Because if I could sleep in, I would.
You can't sleep in.
I'm happy I slept until 6 a.m.
There you go.
What time do you normally get up?
You just knew Archie was on, didn't you?
What time do you normally get up?
6 a.m.
Do you have an alarm, or how do you get up?
Well, I have my phone. Also, my bed wakes me up.
Well, when you wet it?
What?
Do you wet it?
No, and just be careful, Sirocco. We got to be nice to our panelists, okay? Otherwise, we don't come back.
Sirocco, that was good nature ribbing. I understand good nature ribbing.
Sorry. Tell me this: what time do you go to bed, Rancher?
I try to go to bed at 10 p.m.
Hey, you see that, Sirocco? That's what I should be fucking doing, Sirocco.
No,
10 p.m. But no, I get
lights out. Lights out.
A little tiny bit more complex than that. It's consistency is the key.
Yes. Okay.
Speaking of bed, good night, gentlemen. Thank you.
Hey,
good night,
Strider, we love you. Come again, Strider.
Love you too, Arch. Love you, Sirocco.
Because at the end of the day, Strider, we got to get rid of these lefties, Strider. I got to give you some good...
That's all I'm trying to say, Arch. The lefties.
You know, I seriously, I got to come against you to create the drama, but we got to get rid of these lefties. You know, these lefties, they're no good.
The long march of the left, mate. We can't let them, take over. Hawk Keating,
every lefty wears Rolex watches. Think about it.
Actually,
Rolex is conservative. Rolex.
Philip Adams. Philip Adams said in his type of communism, everyone would drive a Ferrari. Remember Philip Adams?
Yeah.
You remember Philip Adams, Sirocco?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, I
Left
remember
wing
it.
columnist. I still love. I listen to the radio. I used to listen to Philip Adams at night. He's always been on the left, and he's so cool. He's so cool.
It's good to watch the anthem. All right, good night. Thanks, guys. Have fun.
Thank you so much for
Take
coming.
it easy, Strider. Don't work too hard tomorrow.
Yeah, Professor.
So we were talking to Clivers.
Clivers is there. Yeah, so Clivers goes to bed at... Yes.
Arch, I'm going to head off too. I've got to go.
Hey, Mr. GMT, can you say something controversial before you go?
I don't know what to say. I'm not in that mood at the moment, so I can't.
No.
I've got to be in the mood.
It's great to have you, man.
Your Rolex and buy a couple of Timex.
I've got one. I've got a Timex Q.
There you go. Sell all the rest of your Rolex and have 3 Timex.
Yeah,
put the money in the bank.
Guys, have an awesome night, awesome day, evening, whatever it is, morning.
Thank
and
you so much
see you guys next time. Stay sexy, guys. Ciao.
See you, GMT. See you, mate. Good man.
Howie's very quiet. What's going on with Howie? Did he fall asleep? He must have fallen asleep. No, it's midday.
I could probably just get up and listen to the professor. I mean, I was transfixed by what he was talking about when I first came on, or right before I came on.
Very interesting. It killed off the super chats, unfortunately. But hey, we got a few.
Well, yeah, but since when did worshiping wealth become a thing? I guess.
How long have you been watching the ARCHIELUXURY channel? Period. My answer to that.
I got about half that. What?
Hey, is the professor still there? I got to tell you, Rancher, that was a great show we did yesterday. That was fun.
It was nice.
And we had a lot of fun with that. I really enjoyed it. It was great to have you on. You know what? I tend to agree with you, Rancher. Since when has been why do we fucking worship wealth? But why do we fucking do it? But like in our hobby, it's always the person who's got new reveals. They I just bought this. I just bought that. Since when is that success? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or a lot of times it's the person having the collection review, and it's almost like a lunch. It's almost like they ordered hype pieces off a lunch menu.
Yes. It's that's kind of why Rolex gets so boring, is that these hype pieces, and it's kind of sad. People only want the hype pieces because other people want them. Do they want them because they like it, or do they want them because other people can't get it? You know, that's
I don't know how many times I've actually run across someone at the mall and said, "Oh wow, sorry, is that a Submariner?" And the guy looks down and he said, "Oh, you mean my Rolex?"
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's Rolexes. Submariners tend to get that a lot, don't they? You know. I said, "Nice sub." He goes, "No, it's a Rolex." I thought,
Yep.
"Oh fuck!"
All the time.
You know?
In other words, you have no idea. You don't have no appreciation of what the watch is or what it.
But
I've only ever had that happen once, and the guy said I was wearing my sub date, and I sat down, and the guy said snap, and he had the same watch.
Yep.
I got to tell you,
not many people notice, and I don't care. I don't want people to notice. To be honest,
Blue Shirt Buddha really, I think he was a true purist in the hobby.
Yep.
And you don't need to, just because you love Rolex, you don't have to have every fucking model, do you? You know what I mean? Do you have to have every fucking model that was ever produced?
No.
Well, but before there's like an element of make believe and play acting or costume jewelry in a way, people would get the Rolex. People would get the watch that coincided with their needs, their wants. That's why.
Hey, just to interrupt the chat. Just sorry to. I think this is going to do an after show.
Okay.
So maybe if you set it up, or if he sets it up, you can link it up when you eventually decide that you're going to go to bed, but not just yet. That wasn't a green light to say I'm going to bed just yet.
No, that's exactly
just a thought. Sorry, Clive.
That's right.
It's interesting. Now let me just see there. Has he set up a new show? Has Dis set up a new show?
He's just said thanks. Dodger and I are going to do an after show. So if he sets it up, then
I can link to it. Let me have a look.
Then you can link to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly do that. Set it up now, guys, and I can link to
I can't
that.
do it because I no longer have keys, and I still don't want them.
Yeah,
maybe one day. Maybe one day. Never say never. Someone else said that. Sean Connery said that once. Never say never again.
Oh, it's already set it up.
He set it up. Shit. There you go. It's all set up.
Oh, live in 78 minutes. Holy shit, that's a while to go.
And 78 minutes. Yeah, you got a super chat.
Archie,
Fabian Celia.
Sorry. Yes.
Have you heard of Richard Perrott, watchmaker? His channel, Richard Perrott. He was a major. He was a major in the.
Just one moment. Fabian Solier, 5 Swiss francs. Always prefer to go out with my Breguet Type 20 or my Zenith Chronomaster Sport. Those are purist watches for connoisseurs. And I agree with the Reverso would also fit into that. Would also fit into that. Speedmaster's another great one. Yes, sir. It definitely is. So, guys, you're going to run the show. I was going to end this in about 10 minutes.
When did you start? When's it due to start?
He's got his set for 78 minutes.
78. I think maybe he made a mistake. Let's have a look.
Hey, guys, can you just tell those guys to fix that there if they can? Can you just fix that?
11:40. Oh my fucking god! He's got it for Dis, if you're watching, or Dodger, if you're watching, can you change that for, say, 10 minutes away from now? So
7 minutes. 7 minutes.
Well, mate, let's give him time to, because he's got it set for 11:40 p.m. our time, and it's kind of he's just fixed it apparently. Let me look. You can look. I don't know why I'm looking.
I can look too. Oh, yeah, 6 minutes. It's ready to go. Yeah, he's done it. He's fixed it.
10:30 p.m. 7 minutes. Yeah.
Excellent. Clivers.
I'm looking at the Joe Lo Mofo podcast. Should it be the Joe Lo Mofo Poco?
That was a great interview I did there. Okay, they're ready to go. Excellent. Dodgers just said excellent. Ending in 6 minutes.
I've even just replied to Dodger and said I might jump on if I'm allowed to.
Of course, you're always allowed to.
Well, I don't know. You know, the new regimes and everything else.
Clive, I want to ask you something.
It's a bit
Why?
like being a politician.
I normally wake up at 6, but then I sit in bed for another hour in half sleep. You don't enjoy half sleep?
No, I have to do this thing called piddling.
Oh, I see.
Oh God, is that back to the wet bed? Is that why you have to get up in the morning because the mattress told you?
But after you do your
told you.
piddle, don't you come back to bed and just say, I just want another 20 minutes, just lie there, put the radio on. I put my radio on.
No. I can't. Once I'm up, I'm up.
Oh, fuck.
Clive, I jokes aside, I heard you were sick a few days ago. I'm glad to hear that you're out and about.
Thanks, Rocco.
On the mend. On the mend.
Yeah, please take care, Clive. I don't want to fucking lose you, okay? I'm not fucking gonna handle you going, okay? I want you around for another 5 to 10 years, okay?
Thanks.
You've got to remember, Clive, because you know, but Archie likes people who work for free to stick around a bit. I hope you got the levity there.
Actually, yeah.
I feel like I'm about to be banned.
I like your sense of humor, Sirocco.
Oh, you got to have some sometime.
Definitely, you need to have sense of humor. I can tell you that.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
Of course you
that's
do.
for sure.
Otherwise, your docs reports.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I like Docs. I think I like his tongue-in-cheek go for stuff. I haven't watched him for a long time, but I like Docs. I even appeared on his show once, many moons ago. Do you remember that? I got in trouble. I got in so much trouble for appearing on his show. Fuck.
Yes.
I was so bored and I was a bit drunk and I went, fuck it.
Yes.
So, Arch, can I ask you something, Archie?
Yes, please.
Did you think about the CBT therapy when you were talking to Ron about that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually going to see a GP this week, and we get so many free sessions if I get a referral from a doctor. So I'm going to ask him for that. Okay.
Yes, you get. I think you get up to 6, and then you're going to go for another 6 if you tap into someone that you feel comfortable with, and you have your first 6 sessions, and then they'll
Yep.
Send a letter back to your GP, and they'll say you can have another 6. But I've tried that. The CBT. I wasn't really. There's some other stuff too. There's a lot of other stuff out there as well. Cognitive behavioural therapy is. Look, I'm not bagging Ron. I'm not saying that what his advice to you was not good. That is good advice. But
Look, basically, I've got good reasons to be fucked off. They stole my shit. I want my shit back. I know why.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
Of course
you have. But you know, when I heard that you were waking up with suicidal ideation, you're not that way, are you? Again, you're
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Well, you obviously have PTSD, traumatic stress disorder.
Exactly.
Well, PTSD is another whole different animal.
Archie, I shared in the private chat the article about.
I had a look at that shit. He was pretty young.
Yeah.
Isn't that awful to lose someone at that? That's not really a great innings, is it?
No, but it happens, you know.
Disruptive innovation.
He had
Another super
leukemia.
chat, Archie. Fabian.
Here we go. Fabian Salsa, 5 Swiss francs. Guys, if you had to get only one IWC watch to pick which model you would go for, Big Pilot or Portuguesa, I got to tell you something. I would probably go for one of their Fligers. Second hand, they're under 5 Aussie. Under 5 Aussie for a nice IWC. I'd go for a bargain IWC. That's what I'd go for.
Can you bring the both up? Because I got no clue.
Yep, sure.
I would have went for the one you had, frankly. I know it's not listed, but
yeah. No, that was a great watch. Let me just see if they still got it for sale.
And you sure screwed up when you got rid of that.
Oh, no, he doesn't have that one anymore. He's gone. He's got another one. He's got the IWC Pilots Chrono. That's 8.8. He had one that was under $5,000. It was 5.5, I think it was. It was great buying. It's just the petite, the IWC petite Flieger. Okay, it's not in-house movement, but who really cares? Okie dokie. Thanks for that, Professor. I'll add that to my thing there too. I'll add you. Thank you so much.
To see these two watches.
It's I got to tell you, there are some. Oh, sorry, the Big Pilot or the Portuguesa. I tell you which one I would go for. The problem with the Big Pilot is they're really expensive. They're really dear. You're not going to get a cheap. They're not cheapies. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
Money doesn't matter, right? Money doesn't matter in this instance. Let's just have a look and make a decision.
Money always matters.
Nah.
New Big Pilot, new Big Pilot or second hand?
Actually, the Petite France, the Little Prince model, is cheaper than the new iteration they have done, which is exactly like the Petite France, to use my French accent.
Yes, you're right there. It's
$1,000 difference, so you're getting a bargain if you go for the Little Prince.
Exactly right. That's 100%.
Novak says in the chat. Novak says this hobby is not for poor people, Arch.
It's always good to get bargains, but you know what I mean. It's always
good to get a bargain. Yeah. I'm trying to make a decision on which model to go for. Big Pilot.
7,500.
I forget
British pounds.
What they look like. So I don't care about
7,500.
I care about aesthetics.
What's that in Aussie? 7,500. Yeah, British pounds. So in Aussie, what's that? That's the 43.
It's about 13 for sure.
Let me just
the Big Pilot is a big watch, guys. It's a very big watch.
Yeah,
I think the name just big says straight away.
Here we go. This is the one that I was talking about. This is not the one they sold it, but they had a 8.8 Aussie. What's that? 6 US IWC Pilots chronograph green. The Big Pilot. Look, the Portuguesa. Actually, there's a Portuguesa there. It's a Portuguese. That's
bring it up.
They got a regulator. They got a regulator there. It's just look. I reckon that those are all good choices. You can't really go wrong. Big Pilot or Portuguesa. They've got a Portuguesa regulator. That one on the end there. It's 12, just under 12 Aussie. Look, you can't go wrong with any of that. But what I would say is, as Professor said, that petite chronograph, that's a bargain. And it's a great little... The Ingenua, as Clive has said too, the Ingenua is a great buy. So that's, yeah, there you...
But you hated it. Okay. You hated it, didn't you, Arch? You hated the Ingenua.
No, I liked it. It had flaws. It's a flaw. Everything's flawed, but I actually had the in-house movement. No, I loved that watch. I loved it.
What did you not like?
To start with, you loved it.
It was it's a bit top heavy. It was a bit top heavy, and it was a big chunky monkey. But what I hate about what IWC did, they turned the Ingenua. The Ingenua was for engineers. It was their Milgauss. They turned it into a sports chronograph. What the fuck were they thinking? Why would they change this? It's like turning a Milgauss into a Daytona. What the fuck? Why would you do? I don't understand why they did that.
Because people buy the crap out of Daytonas more than the yeah. That makes it's stupid in the long run, but I mean, you can see how they made the decision.
Yeah,
decided in the short run.
Exactly. Okay, guys, we're going to link over.
Oh,
I'm going to wind this one up. We're going to link over to the other stream, and
okay, that's a good show, mate. Good vid.
They're ready
to
go. Okay. See you later, guys.
Thanks, Professor. Good to hear from you.
Guys.
See you.
Here's Professor Clivers.